And the product here, we see different lines overlapping. So this is the paid version of Keepa. I definitely recommend you to buy the paid version. It's only 15 euros a month, but it's a fundamental tool to make a proper analysis. The software is already giving you most of the information, but I repeat, Keepa is not always 100% accurate, and you want to have a visual verification of the information that are provided by the software. So what are you going to see on Keepa? On Keepa, you have a series of graphs, depending on what you enable. You can enable more graphs or less graphs, but the default view is made of three graphs. So the first graph is the price and sales rank graph. The second graph, this green here, is the one for all the sales rank on the main category and the subcategories. And the third graph here is referring the number of sellers and the review count. So if you want to see how many sellers are actually selling this product and what is the review, the number of reviews that are present on the listing, this is the graph that you want to check for. Based on our experience in Europe, this graph here is definitely less relevant than the other two. There are very few products in which a lot of sellers are competing for the buy box in Europe. Most of the products listed in Europe, any marketplace I'm talking about, they're not having more than 5 or 10 sellers. So this means that all your purchase decisions are based on a very small set of competitors. And in most cases, you can immediately ignore this factor when making a purchase decision and focus on the other two graphs. But be aware that this graph is also present. So if you see in this graph that you have a lot of sellers, this is a warning for you to place this order, because you are going to compete with a lot of other sellers. But I repeat, in Europe, it's very rare to find listings and to find products that are having a lot of sellers in the buy box. So in order to make a proper decision, you should always focus on these two graphs here. The second graph has been recently added by Keepa. It was not present before, and it's actually quite valuable because it gives you the indication of the performance of a certain product in a certain category and in subcategories as well. As you can see, the green line here is corresponding to the green line here. It's exactly the same. The main green line here is the same. But on top of that, in these graphs, you also have some smaller, actually gray, more green, intense green lines that corresponds to the BSR history of the subcategories. In general, you can base, if this green line here is visible, it's not always the case, but in the majority of the cases, this green line here is visible, you can completely ignore this graph here. This graph is going to add you more information if you want to check more in details on subcategories. But what's really important for understanding the number of sales amount is the main green line, that is also displayed here. We are going to cover the analysis of this bottom graph here in probably another session, because here we are really talking about advanced Keepa graph analysis. For the beginning, so for making clever purchase decision, it's sufficient, especially in the beginning, to focus on this graph here, because this graph here is already having all the information you might need to place a purchase decision. So let's go and check all these elements that are available on the graph and how they can be used in order to provide you relevant information. So as I already told you, you see a green line, and the green line represents the BSR. Keepa provides you several options to manage this line. So all these commands here, they allow you to toggle on or off each individual value. And there is also an option to flip the BSR upside down. So by default, Keepa graphs display BSR using the 0 as the bottom of the graph. So this means that the lower the graph, the lower the value in the graph, the lower the BSR, and so more sales are generated. The higher the value, the lesser the sales. What we usually prefer, but it's definitely a personal preference, is to flip the value upside, the graph upside down. So this means that when the graph goes up, it means that the product is selling more. And when the graph is going down, it means that it's selling less. But this is just a personal preference. There is no indication on what's the best practice in general. This is just the way we prefer to see that. So the green line is the BSR over time. So you can see that the graph is starting January 24th and moving forward till today. And here you see all the historical value of this green line so that you can make a purchase decision. So you can see that if you analyze a certain product in a certain date, let's say, for example, here on, when was it? On March, somewhere beginning of March, this product is having a very low sales rank. Sorry, a very high sales rank in terms of number, 255,000. So this product in this period of time was having a sales rank that probably was not that interesting to analyze. But all of a sudden, you see that this graph jumped up. And if you analyze the same product a few days later, on March 16, for example, the same product was having a sales rank of 20,358. In a matter of couple of days, the graph completely changed in value. So if you only analyze the BSR in a specific moment in time, you won't be able to get this change. And these changes are fundamental to understand the number of sales per month. The more this graph is going up and down, the more sales are generated per month. But if you take the value on a single moment in time, you might miss this information, because the sales volume is indeed related to the BSR, but only if you analyze it in an historical, from an historical point of view. And that's why Keepa is so precious, because it's displaying you the trend, the single values of BSR over time. And only by analyzing this value over time, you can really understand how many units are actually sold. So there are several techniques to translate a graph, a green line in the graph, into real sales. Our preferred way, and it's definitely not the best way at all, but definitely the easiest way to cross-validate BSR into sales a month, is actually to calculate how often this graph is going up if you keep the graph upside down. If you keep it as Amazon recommends, then you can count how often this graph is going down. So how often this the sales rank for a certain product is moving from a very high value, so in this case 500 to 255,000, and going down to 20,000 more or less. So every time you have a spike, you have a change, a sudden change of the BSR, it means that there's been at least one sale on Amazon. not given to know how many sales, so probably in this moment of time, more than one sale happened, but at least one sale happened. When the graph is moving like this, a sale happened on Amazon. I repeat, there is no direct correlation between BSR and actual sales, but there is a correlation between a change in BSR and a sale. So by counting, actually, by measuring the number of times in which this graph is actually changing, you can make very accurate predictions on sales volumes. And that's why Keepa is so fundamental in doing this. So if you keep it upside down like we do, this graph is going down, 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 down. So this means no sales, no sales, no sales, no sales. So all of a sudden, it jumps up. So here we can assume that there was a sale happened on Amazon. So we can count this moment here as one sale. Then if we continue, we see that the graph is going down in a different way, definitely starting from a higher point. And then all of a sudden, pump, it goes up again. And then down, 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 down. So based on our quick evaluation, this product generated 2 sales during the past 3 months, because the default view of Keepa is 3 months. You can narrow down by clicking down here to different time frames. What we usually do is always calculating 3 months and 2 months and 1 month, so that you have a better indication on the trends on a longer period and on a short period of your product. So if you narrow down to 1 month, we see that the graph jumped up only once, somewhere near the 23rd, 24th of March. So based on my experience, this product is not generating 14 sales a month, according to what the default Keepa analysis the default Keepa number is saying. But this product is generating only 1 sales a month. And yeah, so the number that you see here in the software is the default one that is extracted from Keepa. My recommendation is always to cross-check this information analyzing Keepa graphs, because sometimes the Keepa value provided as such can be quite inaccurate. So let's say the objective here is to make accurate purchase predictions. You can base your decision even without checking Keepa graphs, but as you can see, if you expect to sell 14 units of this product, you're gonna probably end up selling only 1 unit. So if you want to really understand how much profit and only select products that are giving you a considerable amount of profit, maybe you want to consider only products that are actually selling more than just one unit a month. And that's the consideration regarding the BSR. So the BSR is to be validated somehow. There are, in the vast majority of Keepa graphs, there is definitely a very accurate calculation provided by Keepa about how many sales are generated. But based on our experience, it's always good to cross-check this information by counting, manually counting the number of spikes that are visible in the graph.
And one question, every change of BSR, it's 1 sale, or could be?
Could be more than 1 sale.
More than 1, for example?
Exactly. It could be more than 1. Our usual assumption is that 1 spike equals 1 sale.
Okay.
And you see that the graph, when the graph is going down, it means that there are no sales. When the graph goes up, it could be 1 sale, it could be more than 1 sale. It's not that it's not possible to calculate it, because, repeat, BSR is a value provided by Amazon, and Keepa is just measuring it from an historical point of view. So there is definitely a correlation between sales and BSR, but Amazon does not provide this information in order to you to understand how many sales have been generated in a given moment of time. Then Going back to the same graph, you probably already noticed that there are more information provided that can be enabled or disabled on this side by here. So what we usually keep enabled, so we don't sell used stuff, so we always keep disabled the used and the collectible. All these parameters that they can be enabled on Keepa, but since we focus only on new items, we always keep them disabled. What we want to keep enabled is the Amazon price trend over time, the new price trend, okay, the sales rank as we mentioned, eventually the list price, but we find it very inaccurate, so we prefer to keep it disabled. It's just confusing. Then you want to know over time at which price your competitors are, both FBM and FBA. So the blue dots here, the blue little squares are the prices over time for FBM sellers, and the red triangles that are not present in this graph, but we're going to see another graph later on, are FBA sellers. So as already mentioned, in a listing you can have three different kind of sellers. You have Amazon, if Amazon is the seller. Then you have FBM sellers and FBA sellers. So all these three players are competing for the buy box. The buy box can be assigned to Amazon, it can be assigned to FBM, it can be assigned to FBA. Whoever is having the lowest price is having better chances to win the buy box. But Keepa is providing you information about all of them. So in this case, for this product here, we see that for the vast majority of the last 3 months, because we are in the 3 months time period, Amazon was not in the seller list. Then all of a sudden, in this period here, Amazon joined the listing. Amazon joined the listing with a very aggressive price in respect of what was offered before. So during this period of time here, the buy box offer was this pinky dot here, 61.89 euros. We are talking about this product in Germany, if I'm not, in France, sorry, in France. So this is the French graph for this product. We are only talking about one marketplace. So during January, February, and the beginning of March, the product was having a buy box price here in the pinky dot, 61, this one here, 61.89. And the best price from a third-party seller here was this blue dot here, 77 and 79. Okay. Here. So the price was quite stable over time. The buy box price is always lower than the FBM, because FBM is also having the shipping costs. So the buy box price was a bit too high, and in fact in this period no sales have been generated. Then at a certain point, somewhere beginning of March, Amazon joined the listing with a very aggressive price. So instead of 61 euros, Amazon entered the listing with 38 euros and 68. And exactly in that period, so in the very same day in which this happened, also a sale happened. So this means that the seller, the seller that was offering the product here, the seller or the sellers, we can even check how many sellers. So here we were having three sellers. So in this period here, we were having 3 sellers that were having a very high price that generated no sales. You can see in this period, no sales, no sales, no sales. Amazon enters the listing, very aggressive price, and all of a sudden a sale. Then no sales, then another sale, and then Amazon was out of stock. So this means that Amazon was probably having only 2 items in stock. They sell them out, all 2 of them, and then they disappear from the listing. Where you see the orange area, it means that Amazon was having in the listing, so this means that Amazon was having stock for this item. As soon as Amazon is out of stock, you won't see the line anymore. You will see the orange area anymore. So this means that Amazon is not selling anymore the product. But again, in this case, the FBM sellers are selling the product. So I'm quite sure that the sellers that are currently in the buy box, they are not able to read the Keepa graphs. Otherwise, they would have noticed that the price that they're offering is too high and it's generating no sales. What you can also understand from here. So yes, this product generated 2 sales in the last 3 months, but both of these sales happen when the price was lower than the current one. This means that if you buy products from the supplier and you enter the listing using this price here, that is probably the one suggested by the software, 67.79 is suggested by the software. This price here, you see the blue dot, 67 and 79. So this is the current lowest offer for this product. So if you go on the listing, we can even go to the listing in France and check. Let's see if, yeah. Let's ship it to France. Okay. Okay, in this case, there's only one seller. Okay, so only one seller left. 66.89 plus shipping, probably it's not mentioned here, but definitely there is some shipping. Ah, here it is. You see, so this is the current cost. So here we are talking about FBM seller that is offering a buy box of 66.89 plus 9.90 shipping. If you go back to Keepa, let's see. Okay, it really changed recently. Look at, yeah. Okay, so this product just changed. I think we pick a product that changed in the last hour, even from a Keepa point of view. So you see the very last value here is 66 euros 89 FBM price, and by box 72.79. And this 72.79, it's for sure this. How much is it here? 76.89 plus 9.90. So 76.79 is the buy box price plus shipping. 76.79, and Keepa is telling you that the buy box is pinky line 72.79. Yes, exactly. So Amazon is giving you both the information of the price offered by the seller and the final buy box price, including shipping costs. But you see, it's very difficult to catch it because it's really at the end of the line here. So Keepa is tracking this information that recently changed in the very last minute. So if you go to the listing, you see that the product, the price is already reflected, is already reflecting the changes. That Keepa is already reflecting the changes in the product. So again, as we already saw, the product was not selling at this price here. So the product was not selling at 61 euros 89. 100% sure that it's not going to sell at all if the price is even higher. So now the price is even higher, the buy box price is even higher. So this product is not going to sell for that price. The right price for this product to sell is definitely lower. So this price point here, it was selling 1 unit. At this price point here, it was selling another unit. So probably the right price for this product to be sold in France is around 52 euros 04. You always have that. I need to go back here. 51.4. You're still profitable. So if you, the recommendation here is that this is definitely a profitable product. If you narrow down this period here, we see that in a matter of 1 week, it generated 2 sales. So in, when is it? From March 14 to March 24, yeah, okay, so probably 10 days, less than 2 weeks. Let's assume 2 weeks. So you have 2 sales in 2 weeks, it means 4 sales in a month, roughly 4 sales a month. For price 52.04. So this means that you have 1756 profit already calculated based on the new price. That we have to multiply not by 14 but by 4. So 17 multiplied by 4. So this is a product that if you buy, it's going to probably generate something like 70 euros a month. Not the best one, but definitely profitable. So when your operations are robust enough, you can definitely consider any product that is having a profit. The only limit is the space in your warehouse. So if you analyze properly, this product is a profitable one, and I've shown you what are the conditions to make it profitable. If you keep this price, sorry, this is not profitable. If you lower the price to 52.04, then sales are going to happen and you're going to sell your stock probably 4 units a month or something like that. So as you can see, this was definitely the very first product in this analysis. Not the best product in general, but definitely a very good example. The data provided by Keepa and reflected in e-commerce has to be analyzed in order to be more precise and to estimate better both the sales price and the sales volumes. If you do that, you definitely increase your, you definitely reduce your risk, because if you buy 14 units and you expect them to sell all of them for 77 euros, that's probably not realistic. You want to be accurate, you want to be more precise, you want to buy products that are corresponding to high profit. So this product is definitely generating profit, but not as high as the default information coming from Amazon and Keepa is telling you to do so. So that's why it's important to really go and analyze more in detail the specific cases.